Okay, shalom, shalom, kum yasha'Allah, koholoyimla, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us His beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akhwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawaf, just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And wanted to touch on conversion or Jewish or Judaism. Oxford Classical Dictionary. And I actually pulled it up, just by the Spirit. Like, let me Google this. Because sometimes you can go into Esau's hookup and they'll tell on themselves. They'll give you information. You just got to research it and search it out. Scripture says to study to show thyself approved. Because you can get real good information from these people because they will tell on themselves, and but you got to be able to filter the lies out. Okay, so they have these are key words, right? Christianity, circumcision, ethnicity, identity, Jewishness, Judaism, proselytism, rabbis, religion. All right, so conversion to something is totally different from an actual ethnicity. You can say, for instance, a Chinese person may come to America from China. In China, eating dog may be legal. They can actually go to a market, get a dog, cut him up, eat him, or go get a dog plate, with rice and steamed vegetables and shit like that. But once they get to the Americas, that would be illegal. So what they would be kind of doing is, converting to American way of life or America's law, so to speak. They can't think that they're still in China. They will have to do what the so-called white man, his laws say in this particular country. So that would be okay. You're converting, so to speak. It's not a Chinese person come to America and now all of a sudden they're an Edomite or they're a so-called white person. Or say let's reverse it. Say a so-called white person leave America and go to China. And even though a lot of them, they're proud like that, they will try and go to other countries and think that there's, they can pull the shit on the people of those other countries as if they're still in America. But overall, they have different laws. If you were to go to Italy or if you were to go to, but we're talking about, say you go there and you're going there to stay. You're a resident of that place. You would have to keep their laws. So you would basically convert, so to speak. But now, generally, this is going into religion, though. Because, you have people that were, of course, we were Christians, believing in so-called white Jesus. But, of course, we, came into the knowledge of this truth. But we are really, truly, ethnically, DNA-wise, from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We are the children of Israel. We're not converts. You see, it's no such thing as Judaism with us. We're not going into a religion, even though we do have a religion, but we're ethnically the children of Israel, if you get what I'm saying. So I wanted to go through some of this. This is in basically like the Wikipedia, so to speak. Okay, and it's pretty interesting. I read pretty much overall all the way through it. It's quite a bit, so I'm going to breeze through it. It says, there is little evidence of conversion to Israelite religion or Judaism in Jewish scriptures. For instance, while later rabbis understood the book of Ruth to portray the conversion of Ruth to Judaism, the book itself repeatedly refers to her as a Moabite, which she was. That's what she was. She was a Moabite. She just converted to our way of life, our way of living, our customs, because she married an Israelite man. You see? That's exactly what happened. She was a Moabite. Now, is she from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Of course not. But that doesn't mean that she couldn't have lived among our people in peace as long as she was, living by the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. She was supposed to do, as the law says, just like any other country that you go to. If you get out of hand, then, in these days and times, what they'll do, what they call, I think, is extradite you, or they'll send you back to your country. For say like, for instance, these some of these immigrants that are crossing the border down, Texas area and all that other stuff like that, they'll send them back. You see? So, but she was a Moabitess. That's what she was. She just happened to marry an Israelite man. So did she convert to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord? Of course she did. But that doesn't mean that she's an Israelite, right? Okay, it says, even after she declares to her mother-in-law, Naomi, that your people will be my people and your God will be my God, Ruth 1-16. And she did say that in that particular scripture. So let's see, we can get that real quick. I was in the blue letter. Let me see here. Let's go into Ruth 1-16, and we can get the account. And you know, if you're familiar with the story, you would know. But this is for new comers. Because she had two daughter-in-laws. One of them chose to leave and go back to her own people, and Ruth chose to stick around with our foremother Naomi. I'm gonna start at verse 15. It says, and she said, let me get it in the NLT, the New Living Translation. It says, look, Naomi said to her, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. See that? You should do the same. But Ruth replied, don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. So basically, she has a mind, because she understood. See, she already had a Hebrew Israelite husband. She was pretty much living like that to begin with, you know, already converted. It's just that, you know, the two husbands had died of those, you know, Naomi's son and her husband. Naomi's husband died and her two sons died, and she was left with her the two daughter-in-laws, right? So she was, you know, she was pretty much overall used to the customs anyway, so to speak, you know? So let's go back. Let's get some more. That was just one example. So what we're doing is showing, like, okay, you can convert to something and not be of it, you know, so to speak. Because you can't, you got Christians talking about spiritual Israelites. There's no such thing as spiritual Israelites, man. You can't become spiritually Chinese or spiritually, you know, ethnic wise. We're talking about this is a DNA thing. This is from a bloodline. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they are the Israelites. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, rather. You know what I'm saying? The promises was given to them. His name was changed to Israel, or Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew tongue. He had 12 sons. All those 12 sons became progenitors of the Israelites. Just is what it is, man. Right? Because when you go into the history of our kings, you know, like, you know, King David, King Solomon, you know, what you'll see is, hey, they was putting those other nations to work, man, while, you know, those other nations didn't have positions amongst Solomon, King Solomon, you know, in the king's house, so to speak. They was out doing work, man. They was doing physical shit, you know? Okay, but anyway, let's get some more. Oh, so they said, similarly, the Hebrew text of Esther 8:17 portrays numerous Gentiles Judaizing. So let's get Ruth 8:17. And you know what? They got Esther Salakia. See that's Esther 8:17. And they got a really good see, they telling the truth in this particular area about these people that you know, so-called converted in this particular chapter here. They converted because they asses was scared as shit. Okay, so let me get this in the NLT as well. Esther 8:17, it says, in every province and city, wherever the king's decree arrived, the Jews rejoiced and had a great celebration and declared a public festival and holiday. And many of the people of the land became Jews themselves, for they feared what the Jews might do to them. So that was the reason why they converted. They converted because they like, hey, they've been fucking people up. And man, hey, look, I don't want no problems. I don't want no smoke with y'all. Hey, I'll do what y'all want me to do. And that's pretty much all that it was. Okay, so it says, many people of the land Judaized because fear of the Jews fell upon them. The Septuagint translation, LXX, adds that this Judaization included circumcision. While some scholars believe that this verse refers to conversion, it could have been both. I'm sure some of them, they was getting circumcised, you know. They was converting, you know. Okay, so it says the author claims that the action was taken only out of fear of the Jews, and it was. That was the only reason why they was doing it. They wasn't doing it just because, those people are living good. They're living right. They're living by the law, statutes, and commandments. I could tell something different about them. Their God is with them. No, they wasn't into that. They had their own gods. Okay, it says, these Gentiles did not Judaize out of religious conviction. Rather, they merely pretended to be Jews to avoid Jewish retaliation from the violent machination of Haman. And if you go through the story, Haman was trying to have all the Jews, killed, because Mordecai wouldn't bow to him. If you go through that story in the book of Esther. Okay, so it goes on to say, other scholars point to the LXX use of the term proselytos to translate the Hebrew word ger, resident alien. And that's true too. That's where sometimes you'll see the word alien. Those were strangers that were living amongst the Jews, man, or the Israelites. It wasn't, see, they act as if, Israelites had towns and where, other people wasn't involved. It was other people living amongst, our people, not to the extent of them running anything. They wasn't running nothing, because a lot of them were, slaves. A lot of them were, workers and hewers of wood, water drawers, and things like that. And they lived there. But did they have the same rights as the Israelites? Hell no. Okay, but it says, other scholars point to the LXX use of the term, okay, we got that already, arguing that the LXX translators understood the ger to be a full-fledged convert to Judaism. Nonetheless, papyrological evidence and adequate understanding of translation technique in the LXX confirm that proselytos refers only to resident alien, not to a religious convert. And that could be the case, you know what I'm saying? Because again, there were people that were, kind of living amongst our people that, they wasn't converts, but they knew to keep our laws though. They knew they couldn't get out of hand, you know what I'm saying? They knew that they couldn't be out, and that's the way it's going to be in the kingdom. All these people, all these nations are going to be full-fledged converts. And why? They're going to be full-fledged converts because they're going to be afraid of what we're going to do to their asses. Because they're going to see firsthand what we're going to be doing. We're going to get down on their asses. We're going to strike complete fear in these nations, man. When we get those new bodies and the law, statutes, and commandments are written on our hearts and minds. Because see, we're going to be totally infused with the scriptures. They're not. We're going to have to teach them that. And we're going to have to beat it into them because you're going to have some stubborn ass nations that's not going to want to, you know what I'm saying? They're going to rebel basically. And we're going to get them in line. That rod of iron, man. This is what's coming right here. See, these so-called white people that's running around calling themselves Jews, what they've done is basically, you're going to be that in the kingdom anyway. But instead of you being the fake portion or the identity stealer, people are going to know that, okay, these people done lied. We know who the real people are now. And we're going to, we're going to, and matter of fact, you're not even fully converted. You're not even converted in reality because you do all kinds of wickedness, but you do it under the guise of, okay, we're this religious and, holy people, and you fool the world into thinking that you are the actual, Israelites, and you're not. So we're going to straighten all y'all asses up. We're going to definitely get at you, the top tribe of you small hats, man. We're going to get at y'all. Y'all going to really learn. y'all gonna really learn. Y'all tried to take the identity, or y'all gonna be real converts in the kingdom. Okay, it says, let me see here. Shane Cohen has argued convincingly that conversions to Judaism began to occur in the 2nd century BCE as the Hasmoneans came to power and developed an understanding of Jewishness that permitted people to adopt Jewish customs and thus acquire Jewish identity. Right? So they'll give you some history. It said it is possible that the Hasmoneans ultimatum to the Idumeans. Who's the Idumeans? Esau, Edom. This is the Greek way of saying, let's do a web search real quick. See, first thing pops up, Edom, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. So he converted to our life, so to speak, but they stole the identity and kept running with it. And now what they're doing is they phased us out, and they, white, the scriptures even go into it. They whitewashed the images. They told the world that the Lord is this white guy, blonde hair, blue eye, he's coming back to save, the world. And they've been ruling the world with the Bible for a long time, when the scriptures, actually says, what does thou have to do to declare my statutes, roughly paraphrasing. That's Psalms 50 and 16. Matter of fact, let's get it. See, they're not supposed to be messing with these scriptures, but what did they do? And this is going to be another reason, too, why they're going to get such an ass kicking in the kingdom. Psalms 50 and 16. But unto the wicked, Yahweh said, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee. See, they hate instructions, but they trying to use the scriptures. If they were really the people and the prophecies was being played out, that they go back to the Holy Land. How are you over in the Holy Land with gay parades going on? How are you over in the Holy Land with all that wickedness going on over there? You don't keep any of the law. You won't even call on the name of the Lord. It's crazy, man. Anyway, let's get some more. Let me go back into this. I'm going to have to go back. Okay, so here we go. So we know that the Idumeans are those are Edomites, Esau. And they got the Itureans, which I think those are Edomites as well. While scholars dispute whether this compelled adoption of Jewish customs can accurately be called conversion, it appears that many early Jews understood such Idumeans and Itureans to be converts. The book of Judith, right? This is in the Apocrypha. This is how they know that Apocrypha is real. The book of Judith, which dates to the 2nd century BCE, clearly envisages Achior, the Ammonite, entering into the nation of Israel through the rite of circumcision. Okay, and that's they have it in Judith chapter 14, verse 10. But you have to go off into what was going on with him as well, right? It says, strikingly, Achior's ethnicity should preclude him from ever being able to join the community of Israel, since Deuteronomy 23 and 3 states, no Ammonite or Moabite shall enter into the assembly of, they have YHWH, they can be saying, I think they say H.I.M, but, his name is Yahweh, which means that he exists with the existing one. And these Jews claim that, to be the people, and but we can't call on his name. What the hell do you mean you can't call on his name? He tell you to call on him. Anyway, it says, in spite of this prohibition, the author uses the same language of Achior that Genesis uses of Abraham. See, this is where they start to go off. Both Abraham and Achior trust in God and then circumcised the flesh of their foreskins. Genesis 15:6, 17:24. The book of Judith then serves as the earliest evidence both for understanding Abraham as a proto-convert to Judaism. That's fucking false. The Lord chose Abraham, his son Isaac, his son Jacob. There was no Judaism at that. The Lord didn't say, hey, you're going to have a religion called Judaism and you're converted now. Like, who would he was coming out of his, his father's house, so to speak, and he had to get rid of the idol worshiping God, so to speak, of his father's house of growing up, because this is a part of the lineage that goes all the way back to Adam. When Cain killed Abel and Seth came into play, that's a family lineage that's going all the way through. See, these were the sons of God. At one point, they were, we was on top, and until, the serpent, so to speak, got to, whispering in Eve's ear with that philosophy and all that bullshit, and we fell. But we were the sons of God, considered to be the sons of God. And that lineage goes all the way through. That's why you got the genealogy of throughout all the Old Testament and the New Testament going all the way into our Lord Yahushua, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus, because he's going to bring us back to our righteous state. We're not going to be in these prisoner-like bodies that we're in right now. We're going to go back to a God-like state, having new bodies, being beyond superhuman. See? So there's a lineage that's involved. And Abraham was a part of that lineage. He just so happened to be one of the sons of God that the Lord awakened to carry on the family lineage, so to speak. And that's another lesson, you know what I'm saying? But no, they trying to compare damn Ammonite, to our forefather Abraham, which is going all the way off, talking about some damn proto convert to Judaism. And for positively portraying a non-Jew converting to Judaism. Nah, man, that's completely false. That's why I was saying about like how you gotta, if you're reading any of their stuff, you have to really filter that shit, because they'll get slick. They'll tell you some truth and then they'll slip some bullshit in. Now, when it comes down to this guy right here that they're talking about, let's actually go in here. Let me see. I think I might have had it up. This is Judith, right? This is the book of Judith. I wanted to go straight and get to the point, right? And the reason as to why they accepted him like how they did, basically. Okay, so I'm going to start from verse 5 here. It says, Then said Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, Let my Lord not hear a word from my mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of my mouth of thy servant. So he's about to put them on game, because when you go off into it, this person, this general, basically, he wants to know why. Let me get verse 1. It says, Then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the armies of Assur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war, and had shut up the passages of the hill country, and had fortified all the tops of the high hills, and had laid impediments in the championed countries, wherewith he was very angry, and called all the princes of Moab, and the captains of Ammon, and all the governors of the sea coast. And he said unto them, Tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is that dwelleth in the hill country, and what are the cities that they inhabit, and what is the multitude of their army, and wherein is their power and strength, and what kings is set over them, or captain of their armies, and why have they determined not to come and meet me more than all the inhabitants of the west? Because they was running through people. This army was running through everybody. Everybody was shook and scared of this army, except for the Israelites. The Israelites are standing ground, right? So this is where this guy Achior, which is an Ammonite, today he would be what you would call a so-called Japanese. And he told him what was popping. He was like, look, I'm going to tell you the truth about these people. Verse 6, it says, This people are descended of the Chaldeans, which is Abraham. His father Nahor, I think is his name. It says, and they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. So we had left those idols. Now we're about the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? It says, For they left the way of their ancestors, and worshiped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia, and sojourned there many days. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle. But when the famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt. See, this is when we went to Egypt, and see, all this history is here. And sojourned there, while they were nourished, and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. That was the promise that the Lord had given to our forefather Abraham, that we would be like the stars of the sea. I mean, the stars of heaven, or like the sand of the sea, innumerable. That's why it's Israelites everywhere. That's why we don't go into a skin color thing when it comes to this Israelite movement, so to speak. We can't say that, it's Israelites scattered everywhere that look like the other nations. They even look like so-called Japanese, so-called Chinese, so-called white people. We look like everybody now because we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And the men of our nation, which the seed line goes through, have mingled with the women of those nations and had children generation to generation to generation. So we don't look like how we used to look, but we are still Israelites because we go through the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so let's get some more. And I'm going to go back to the hookup. But I wanted to get this context real quick to show you as to why this man, this Ammonite, was accepted, basically. Okay, it says, But when the famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished, and became their great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them, and dealt subtly with them, and brought them down, and brought them low, with laboring and bricks, and made them slaves. Right? This is the Egyptians when we was in in Egypt. before Moses and Aaron came and to bring us out according to what the Lord told them to do, right? It says, then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight, and God dried the Red Sea before them. So this guy know the history. All those nations knew the history pretty much, I'm assuming, except for this guy. But those closer nations that was around there, they knew. And then you have to realize too that Moab and Ammon come from Lot, which Lot is the son of God, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because that was Abraham's nephew. You see? So they knew somewhat of our history and stuff like that. Anyway, it goes on to say, and God dried the Red Sea before them and brought them to Mount Sinai and caved barns and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esbon, and passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. And they cast forth before them the Canaanites, the Pezerites, the Jebusites, the Shechemites, and all the Girgashites. I know it reads differently in this old English. And they dwelt in that country many days. And whilst they sinned, see, and here's the point, and whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hated iniquity was with them. But when they departed from a way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs, and the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemy. So that's the reason why we're in captivity right now, because we was always following other gods, going after other idols. We would be on top as long as we was following our Father Yahweh, but as soon as we went to going off, and he sent our asses into slavery, right? But this is the point, because they're gonna get pissed with him, because he's telling the truth to the Israelites, but they about to be like, they about to get pissed with him and send his ass on away. They about to send him to the Israelites, since he's repping them so hard, so to speak, right? Well, let's get some more. It says, but now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord, check out what he about to tell this guy. Now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. And this is the reason why Esau today, the so-called white man, that's the reason why he puts pork into everything. He pushes adultery in our kingdom, in our neighborhoods. He pushes the woman can be above the man. All that is sin. The so-called white man, he understands this. He understands that as long as he can keep us in sin, that way he can keep us from calling on our power, our Father. But see, that shit is starting to fail, because the Lord is wakening up the children of Israel in the lands of these captivities that we're in, and we're calling on the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, just like we did back then. And now their kingdom is starting to fall, right? That's why all this information is coming out. You think I'd be doing this lesson right now if it wasn't for the Lord bringing this information to light to show our people? You know what I'm saying? This is a part of the awakening process, to show who the enemy is, that we have actual enemies. Because our people, for a long time, a lot of our people, they don't even believe we have enemies. They just believe that the so-called white man is just their friendly neighbors. See? Well, anyway, let's get on to the point. It says, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. And when Achior had finished these sayings, all the people standing around about the tent murmured, right? And the chief men of Holofernes, and all that dwelt by the seaside and in Moab, spake that he should be that he should kill him. See? He's just telling the man the truth. This is what goes down with them. If they're sinning, we can get them. But if they're not, we better keep on pushing, because their Lord is going to fuck us up. Right? And when you go on through the story, this man caught it bad too. He caught it bad too. So they was threatening to kill the man for just telling them the truth. So it says, for say they, we will not be afraid of the face of the children of Israel, for lo, it is a people that have no strength, nor power for a strong battle. They don't know that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai fights our battles. Now therefore, Lord, Holofernes, we will go up, and they shall be a prey to be devoured of all thine army. Let me see if it let me start from I know it's gonna go this far into it. But let's start at verse 1, Judas chapter 6, verse 1. And when the tumult of men that were about the council was ceased, Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, said unto Achior and all the Moabites before all the company of other nations, and who art thou, Achior, and the hireling of Ephraim, that thou hast prophesied amongst us as today, and has said that we should not make war with the people of Israel, because their God would defend them. And who is God but Nebuchadnezzar? He will send his power and will destroy them from the face of the earth, and their God shall not deliver them, but we, his servant, will destroy them as one man, for they are not able to sustain the power of our horses. See that? What does the scripture say talking about trusting in horses? The Lord said don't trust in horses or the strength of man. To trust in him. He's the one that kills and makes alive, man. See, these people didn't know. They don't know that. That's why these heathens. That's why our captivity or our salvation is going to be such a strangeness to these people, because they're sitting on nuclear weapons and we're just some damn slaves that go to work every day. We don't have shit, so they're going to wonder, like, how did they beat us? This is what's coming to all these nations. How did they do it? It's going to be a strange thing to them that we've been saved out of this captivity and have come into this complete power over them. They're not going to get it, man. It says, for with them, we will tread them underfoot. Now you're talking about their horses and all this other shit. We will tread them underfoot, and their mountains shall be drunken with their blood, and their fields shall be filled with their dead bodies, and their footsteps shall not be able to stand before us. For they shall utterly perish, saith the king Nebuchadnezzar, Lord of all the earth. For he said, none of my words shall be in vain. And thou, Achior, now this is what they about to tell him. All he was doing was trying to tell him the truth. And thou, Achior, and hireling of Ammon, which has spoken these words in the day of thine iniquity, shalt see my face no more, from this day until I take vengeance of this nation that came out of Egypt. And then shall the sword of mine armies and the multitude of them that serve me pass through thy sides, and thou shalt fall among their slain when I return. Now therefore my servant shall bring thee back into the hill country, and shall set thee in one of the cities of the passages, and thou shalt not perish till thou be destroyed with them. And if thou persuade thyself in thy mind that they shall not be taken, let not thy consonants fall. I have spoken it, and none of my words shall be in vain. Then Holofernes commanded his servants that waited in his tent to take Achior and bring him to Bethulia and deliver him into the hands of the children of Israel. So his servants took him and brought him out of the camp into the plain, and they went from the midst of the plain into the hill country and came into the fountains that were under Bethulia. And when the men of the city saw them, they took up their weapons and went out of the city to the top of the hill, and every man that used a sling from coming up by casting of stones against them. Nevertheless, having gotten privately under the hill, they bound Achior and cast him down and left him at the foot of the hill and returned to their Lord. So they just snatched him up, tied his ass up, and took him to the Israelites, basically, right? It says, but the Israelites, check it out, but the Israelites descended from their cities and came unto him and loosed him and brought him into basically Bethlehem or Bethulia, and presented him to the governors of the city. So they ain't just killing, you know what I'm saying? Israelites are not, when just inhumane, you know what I'm saying? But, they was going to get that information out of his ass. It says, which were in those days Ozias, the son of Micah, of the tribe of Simeon, and Cabris, the son of Gothaniel, and Carmis, the son of Melchiel. And they called together all the ancients of the city, and all their youth ran together, and their women to the assembly, and they set Achior in the midst of all their people. Then Ozias asked him of that which was done, and he answered and declared unto them the words of the counsel of Holofernes, and all the words that he had spoken in the midst of the prince of Assur, and whatsoever Holofernes had spoken proudly against the house of Israel. So he giving them the rundown, basically. So I just wanted to just go into that. Now let's go back into this right here. I didn't want to keep this long. I didn't know I was going to go that far with that, but this is the reason why they basically allowed him to come in like that. Now, he sat down, he told them what was popping. Now the scriptures talked about, blessing those that bless you, cursing those, or the Lord would bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. And really by him coming in and telling him what they told, that was a blessing to the Israelites, because it gave them game, it gave them upper hand, so to speak, and gave them, foreknowledge of what, these people. He probably told them some of everything, telling them about the men, telling them about the generals, telling them about, when they go to sleep, when they wake up, what they eat, ain't no telling what this guy was telling them. But it goes on. When you go to chapter 14, right? This is where, what was he gonna do? The Israelites weren't inhumane, like, let's send his ass back out there to get killed. They wasn't gonna kill him, you know what I'm saying? So basically they like, hey man, look, you told the truth about our people, basically, you told what was up. He gave him the rundown on it, and they like, hey man, you just chill with us. And over time, I'm sure he knew some history. He already knew about them. He was just considered to be an alien amongst the people. He was just, hey, come on, man. Yeah, we got, we'll set you up. We got a spot. We got work for you and all that. You know what I'm saying? You can live amongst us, so to speak. That doesn't mean that he's ethnically now a Jew, or he's ethnically an Israelite now. He converted to their way of life and living, their customs, man. It's that simple. Jude 14 and 10, this is where he basically, what they talking about, converted, so to speak. It says, and when Achior had seen, because now this is chapter 14, he done seen some things. He already knows some history of the people. He done seen some things, and he knows that we're a blessed people. And when Achior had seen all that God of Israel had done, he believed in God greatly, and circumcised the foreskin of his flesh, and was joined unto the house of Israel unto this day. Right? See? So, and that's all that it was. And like I said again, in this new kingdom, matter of fact, the scriptures talks about how, I'm trying to think how it's worded, how the nations are gonna cling unto us, so to speak. Let's go down to their God. I'm trying to think how it's worded. Let me see. Zechariah 8:23, it says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, Yahweh, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. See? That guy, he knew. Like, yeah, the power of heaven and earth that created all this stuff is with this people. I'm sticking around. And I'm not going to get out of hand and be on no bullshit. I'm going to go as far, to be a grown man and to go as far as, being circumcised. Hey, man, that's got to be a painful situation. But that's the lengths he was willing to go. But that didn't make him ethnically an Israelite, man. Straight up. So, hey, it is what it is. So, like I said, I don't want to keep it long. It's quite a bit more to it. But they got the account. They got, according to 2 Maccabees, after Antiochus persecuted Jews for their ancestral customs, God tormented him by plaguing his body with worms. The pain of this experience led Antiochus to try to convert to Judaism on his deathbed. Not only does he promise that he will become a Jew, he also promises to declare God's power to all inhabited places. That was, I think, what's that? 2 Maccabees 9:17. If only God would end his suffering. Nevertheless, his suffering continues, suggesting that his promise of a deathbed conversion fails to impress Israel's God, right? Now, they also have Joseph in Asenath. Also portrays the conversion of Gentiles to Judaism and justifying Joseph's marriage to Asenath, the daughter of the Egyptian priest. So that account is in Genesis 41:25. This doesn't make her an Israelite, you know what I'm saying? Because she converted to what Joseph was into. Because, them Egyptians, they weren't dealing with Joseph like that, even though Joseph was on top of them. Even though he was running things. And that's the thing about our men having multiple women. There's nothing wrong with having multiple wives. But the Lord, he gave, a commandment where, amongst a lot of them Hamites and shit, hey, don't mess with them. You know what I'm saying? Because, they'll divert you from, worshiping and praising me. And that's what happened with King Solomon. Our King Solomon, he was dealing with those women. There was nothing wrong with him having the wives that he had. It was just that he started to basically, commit adultery, by worshiping their gods. Those women were supposed to come into the fold and convert basically to the worshiping of our God. Not us, building, King Solomon was building temples and shit. He was doing all kinds of stuff, man, to the gods of those women. Even King David. King David had multiple wives. You know what I'm saying? It's multiple wives throughout the scriptures. But when you marry a concubine, so to speak, or you got a concubine, a woman of another nation, she got to get rid of that shit she know. You don't convert or get to praising her gods and stuff like that, because that'll get you in some trouble. But anyway, this is, they talking about, they trying to compare, it's just ridiculous. Like I said, I'm not going to go any much further in here, but it's a nice little piece though. This is a nice little piece, man. Nice little piece. Probably have to do a part 2 on it. Golly, yeah, it's quite a bit in here. But I mean, you get the point. Conversion, Jewish, Judaism. And you got to go off into, they probably got it in here. I didn't go off, to see that far into it, where the history of one of our forefathers, John Hyrcanus. Let me see. Oh, they got the notes and stuff. They may have had it in here. Or I could have Googled it, because they converted. See, you got it says non-Jewish Greco-Roman writers also provide evidence of Gentile conversion. Juvenal ridicules those who, building on their fathers' observance of Jewish Sabbath and dietary laws, undergo circumcision. He finds it ludicrous that Romans would reject their own laws for those of the Jews. See, but I mean, this was going on. This was going on, man. Those people, a lot of those people, they knew. How you think America became really so great? They know that there's a blessing that's on the children of Israel, even though we're in a curse-like state. They understand that the Lord is dealing with us, man. They understand that we're, generally, we're servants, so to speak, but they want us to be their servants, not to serve our Lord. They understand that we're a spiritual people, We have a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. So what they done was, they whitewashed the images, they used the scriptures and gave you a white Jesus, and our people still believe into that shit to this very day. And guess what our people are doing? Serving the so-called white man with all kinds of love to this very day. Now it's starting to change because their kingdom is starting to fall, but you got to think about it. For the past 500 years, we've been serving these people. We've done nothing wrong to them. We've never, we've had a couple of, come-ups where, your Nat Turners and a few people tried to rebel, you know what I'm saying, because Jake was just being treated so fucking bad. We've had a couple of little rebellions like that. But as a whole nation, we've never tried to come up against these people and do what they've done to us, man. But the Lord is coming. And when he gives us those new mindsets, when he changes our mind, and give us to write those laws, statutes, and commandments on our hearts and our minds, and give us those new bodies, we gonna terrorize the shit out of these nations, man. Right? It's gonna be some real rigorous shit going on, man, for you nations when things first get started. Now there may be in the future, where once you learn, once you know what's going on, you know what I'm saying. We kind of, take our foot off your neck, so to speak, but we still gonna be on y'all ass. Don't get it twisted, man, because you nations have done a lot of stuff to the children of Israel, man. With this conversion thing, you can't convert to being a part of the promises of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You can't convert to being a part of the covenant. You can't convert to, you just can't do it. It's not possible. That's not what that is going into. Those Gentiles that are being spoken of in the New Testament, those are Israelites that were Hellenized. Or the history is there. Because we've gone into a lot of captivities and our people were converting to their shit. What do you think it's talking about neither Jew nor Greek? What do you think the Greeks were? They were Israelites that were converts to Hellenism or to Greekish lifestyles. That's what they was doing. But they were Israelites by ethnicity from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I just wanted to kind of do a little something, to kind of pinpoint the differences and stuff like that. So I pray that the lesson was edifying. Didn't want it to go on this long, but hey, that's the spirit, man. Hey, kwame yashala.